right, welcome back. This is WUB Wake Up Belize Morning Vibes. It's a Thursday morning, and I have to say, Bui Madafi, Bibi Binafi. Thank you, brother. And welcome. Good morning. Buenos dias. Assalamu alaikum. We have to try to make sure we have as many covered there because we are a multicultural country and many of us think the only one language we have here. Welcome again. I'm honored to have in studio Mr. Abdul Nunes and his wife Diafra Nunes, and they are publishers and have been working diligently on putting out valuable information in areas that are not normally published. Children's books, books for enhancing your quality, books on history, and their latest project is a magazine called Belada. And Belada is the combination of a Belizean and a Grenadian, and they came up with Belada. Am I giving it justice?
Yes, that's
right. All right. So welcome to Mr. Abdul Nunes. I call him Kamal from old days, and his very gracious and very talented wife, who is a graduate of the University of DeBry in Canada, and a webmaster, a person who is a desktop publisher, and a very quiet individual that barely speaks. So let's hope that we could hear her today. Welcome to both of you.
Thanks for having us.
Let me start, since you gave me a little bit of background, can I start with your wife? So that you could tell us what is the idea behind the magazine?
The idea behind the magazine is highlighting people of our communities, not only in Belize, but in the broader Caribbean and the diaspora.
Okay.
We want to probably categorize them. Most of the time, like one issue we featured women and their contributions in science and technology and arts, and as many as we can.
Okay.
You know, from the Caribbean, and see how it has impacted the world, the Caribbean, and everything.
So the idea is that you are trying to, as Abdul said earlier, you're trying to highlight those individuals that normally operate below the radar,
yes,
and we don't see.
Yes.
Who are some of those individuals? Can you name some that?
All right. So in our first magazine, we featured.
Oh, this is not the first.
No, this is the third.
Okay, and we're trying to put it up online so that you could see, because it's an e-magazine. It's not something you could hold, I guess, unless you print it out.
We're waiting on our first copy to arrive.
Okay, so it is going to be a hand thing that you can hold.
Yes.
All right. So right now it's only those who are online, but who are some of the persons highlighted in the magazine? The magazine is now being shown on the screen, by the way.
Okay, so the first magazine, this is our fourth issue actually. The first magazine, we want to thank Adele Ramos for believing in us, no? She allowed us to feature her on the front page.
Oh, great.
In that magazine, we had some of our local artists like Big Bang, the Young Man Palad. We had several other people. The second issue was we want to thank Dr. Charmaine Sanders.
No, that was Farid's issue.
Oh, that was Farid issue. I stand corrected. Okay. And then the third issue.
What did you do, for example, with the Farid issue? Because we know that Farid was murdered, and the fact that case is still outstanding, and it's still a craw, I should say a bone in a lot of people's craw. But what did you say in that magazine?
Basically, I was thinking about Mr. Tillett. He wrote a wonderful piece on that, and he allowed us to feature and put that in the magazine.
Which one of the Tillett?
The gentleman with the dialysis situation.
Okay.
All right. Glenn Tillett. All right, good. So he allowed us to use his article his explanation of what happened, between the lines with Farid. That was a wonderful article, and he allowed us to use it in the magazine. Also with that issue, what we wanted to use was the fact that Farid was a barber and entrepreneur, and he was expanding his business at the time. They have the ice cream parlor.
So you went into,
Yes.
so the entire magazine focused on him? Or?
No, he was just
He was
one
of the
persons.
features.
It was mainly men. This
Yes,
one, right?
mainly
Oh,
this
okay.
one.
See,
We
I was
also
going
looked-
to also ask that, you know, because...
We also looked at Anthony Sylvester.
Ah,
the
the
fact
attorney.
that attorney has done some extraordinary work
Yes,
behind the scenes.
and not recognized
and not
for all the work
recognized.
he's done. Absolutely.
Several times at the CCJ, Privy Council, and Appeals Court. I mean, so we looked at those persons. We also looked at Colin Estrada and his work with counseling, the extraordinary work he's done, and of course not getting the recognition that he deserves.
Yes.
So several people like that. Then we looked at some poets. One of the poets that come to mind was this young lady, the Empress, we call her Empress. They do a lot of work with 501 poetry on Fridays. And it's just the young people and the people in Belize who are under the radar. In the third issue, Dr. Sanders, we had similar people. We had some artisans, we had some people who do craft, we had some musicians, and here we are at the fourth issue where we have mainly young people, because there's a lot of young people who are doing great work, but it's overshadowed by all the negativity. In this one, and I want to be thankful, show some gratitude for Miss Dominique Norales. At the time, she was the acting president of the National Youth Council. I want to also give some kudos to Dylan Williams, who works at NCFC. He's also featured in the magazine. And this young man, Andrew Munnings, they were the ones that I consulted, because I do the interviews, I do some of the legwork, and like the wife does all the things behind the scene. I always laugh when we talk. Yes, I always laugh. I tell her sometimes I feel like rumping skin, I give you straws and you turn them into gold. But
that's a good description.
This is the this is a combination.
I have worked with you, and I know that you do interviews.
Right.
Recorded.
Right.
And then when you send me copies of the interviews, I'm just absolutely amazed.
Yeah.
Right down to the very detail.
Yes, and then
I know you do that.
So
she's
fine-tunes
absolutely
everything.
Amazing editing that she does.
So this is what we wanted to do. This issue of Belada in a whole is like a party, an e-party, celebrating people and their work and the extraordinary works that they've been doing, but they have not been recognized. And we want to take this opportunity to recognize all of them. We also want to take this opportunity to thank all the people who basically believed in this dream, right? Starting with Mrs. Nunes, Adele Ramos, Dr. Sanders. When Belada basically started, it started because we were challenged in 2008 by Mohammed Rais to write the history of the Muslims in Belize. So this magazine is just a part of the whole Belada Caribe Productions.
That's the name of the company?
Yes, that's the name of the company. And after that, in 2010, the writings took off. I did these things because of some of my mentors and some of her mentors including yourself, Bilal Morris, and some of the great works that he's been doing. And of course, Mohammed Rais for pushing us and challenging us to do something different, highlighting the history of the Muslims in Belize.
Well, sister, you're from Grenada.
Yes, sir.
And you've been in Belize for a number of years, and you've done a number of things, teaching, etc., etc. How do you find Belize compared to Grenada?
Wow. The first thing I could come up with is the food. The Garifuna food is similar to Grenadian food, but it's a change with the Spanish influence and so forth. So that's different for me, the food. And people, to be honest, sometimes I'm walking down the street and I'm seeing a face and I'm wondering, is this person from Grenada or from Belize? Because people are so similar.
Indeed.
But there's nothing except probably, crime is everywhere, so that's higher than Grenada. Grenada is, It's an island. It's smaller.
Right.
Well, for me, a lot of family over there. Here, you know, sometimes I feel a little isolated because holiday times, you know, everybody's meeting with their families, and it's just Kamal and me and you know, our little unit. But
Yes.
other than that, it's a beautiful place.
You know what comes to my mind when I think about Grenada? I have two impressions. One is, you know, I grew up years ago hearing about the Spice Island.
Oh, yes. Yes.
Grenada.
Yeah.
And then came Maurice Bishop.
Oh, yes.
And I just took a completely different focus on Grenada and Grenadian people. And even though I've heard the narrative of what happened with the New Jewel movement, etc., we really haven't heard from I haven't heard from ordinary Grenadians who were not necessarily a part of it, but were there when it was going on and can say, what was it like to live in the only coup in the East, in the English-speaking Caribbean in the last 30 years, 40 years?
I was very young, about 6 or 7 when the revolution started. And I could remember my family were involved somewhat. I had an uncle and an aunt who were very close to Maurice Bishop. And well, the soldiers used to come to our house for coffee and so forth. I remember that's the first time I saw a gun. And soon after, my family, my mother, grandmother, and my brother migrated to Trinidad.
Okay.
And well, from then on, it was just stuff that we heard about. Yeah.
Well, what did people say? Because to me, it was phenomenal.
Yes.
Because all our Caribbean countries have basically, we rail up, we make noise, we threaten the government and things in the sort by words.
Yeah.
But never taking up arms.
Action.
Yeah. So Grenada was unique and is still unique in that sense. So I don't want to know so much about the narrative of the revolution or the insurrection as much as how did people, because of the ordinary Belize person that we're seeing out there, how do they cope with such a radical change in their governance process?
Of course, you would have those that were against it, but then you had a lot that embraced it and really did appreciate it, even up to now.
All right.
We appreciate, you know, the contributions of Maurice Bishop.
That's interesting.
So, yeah.
So young people today, 30 odd years later, do they condemn that or do they look at it as, well,
I think they just look at it as part of the history. I'm not on the ground because, to be honest, I'm always on the move, being a traveling person. But from what I see, the young, well, to be honest, I wrote a book and I didn't bring it, highlighting, because I'm wondering now if a lot of that is being kind of forgotten, in a sense that it's not really, yes, we celebrate Maurice Bishop, but I'm not seeing much of the history being taught in schools.
Wow, that's
you know?
interesting.
So that I'm not sure about because I'm not there, so I can't really judge. But
well, let's go back to Belize.
Yes, let's go back to Belize.
We hear about your magazine, and I'm just intrigued about meeting a Grenadian that I can talk about that experience a little bit. But Belada is right now its 4th issue, and it's an e-magazine.
Yes, it's an e-magazine.
When a person goes online to get it, is there a charge?
Yes.
And what is that charge?
It's $5.99 and
which is US.
Yes, $5.99 US and $9.99 if they want the copy to download. There's one that you could just view on your Kindle and so forth.
Okay.
And then there's the one that you can download onto your computer.
Hold.
Yeah.
All right. And when it becomes available as a hard copy, what will it cost, roughly?
It's pretty pricey because printing is expensive.
And I'm noticing it's a glossy type of looking
so
magazine.
it's right now it's $30 US.
Whoa.
Yeah, so we're looking for alternative printers, and probably we may have to cut down on the amount of pages that we do. Because
how many pages is it now?
Right now it's 112.
Whoa, this is a big magazine.
Yes, yeah.
Ah,
so
that's great. That's great. And you know, I
But the thing is, the records. I mean, it's priceless.
Yeah, it's priceless.
So
indeed.
yeah.
Yes, indeed, because you're locking in histories of people that you could always go back
to
and
yeah.
Excellent.
One of the young persons that really amazed me in this issue was a young man. he never went to school, but he can literally, because I've seen him, take a car, any vehicle down to scratch, nothing, and put it up back. And he's very young. And I asked him, how did you do this? How did you learn this? Where did you learn this? He said, sir, I just seem to have
Just watch.
watch my pa for a bit. And then it just came natural. I said, wow.
Yeah.
But then people are seeing him do the work, but they don't understand that this is just a passion, this is just a love, a joy for him.
Excellent.
You know.
Excellent. Now, this is a car where you put back on your bit in your driveway.
I'm right. I mean, he's
Just
been
want to
working.
make sure.
Yeah.
I'm sure.
working.
That's excellent
work.
Could I interject?
And he's in your magazine.
Yes, he's
He's
there.
featured, and his name is
Darnell Williams.
Darnell Williams.
Okay,
So,
cool.
Or is it Williams
look
or
at-
Dawson?
Darnell Dawson.
Dawson.
Yeah.
Dawson.
Okay. Yeah, well, the Dawsons are a long line of mechanics and
Yes.
people like that. That's great.
And
That's excellent.
could I interject?
Sure.
Our front cover is Aisha Brave Boy. She is of Grenadian descent. Her father
Okay,
is
is that the
Grenadian.
person that we were looking at
Yes.
just now? Okay.
She has just recently been elected as state attorney of Prince George County.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
All right. all
In
right.
Maryland.
Okay,
So.
in the States?
Yes, in the U.S.
Oh, okay,
So.
all right. So what I'm understanding also is that while you would have a Belize bias, you're making sure you're
Yes, we
including
would-
people from the entire
Yeah,
region.
we would love to do
Okay,
that.
because
so.
that would enhance the marketing of it
Yes.
likewise, that people would be
As
interested.
well as we did feature Mashama Sealy, who is presently the Deputy Commissioner of St. Lucia.
Mhm.
That was in the last issue, the third issue.
We've also featured Chester Williams
Yes.
as one of the youngest commissioners
I
in
see.
the region.
Yes.
Yes, I mean, he's been getting promotions and been doing big things from a very young age.
Oh, yes.
Yeah.
And from where he comes from,
Exactly.
to where he is.
Yes.
That's a great story for young people.
Extraordinary story.
Yeah, yeah. Because he comes from some very challenging background.
Right.
And he never used excuses, and he kept pushing himself.
And
pushing
he's
himself.
also one of the first attorneys, Garifuna attorneys in the police department.
Yeah. So he has a lot of firsts.
Yes, you guys are
So if he
right.
makes it to Commissioner of Police, I have traveled the region when I had a contract with the police, and I did see that most of the commissioners are almost crooked.
Yeah.
Because by seniority, when they do reach that, they're in their 50s and later.
Right.
So to see young Chester Williams moving, I don't know if he's going to be the commissioner, but he certainly seems as though he's moving there. So
And,
that's good to recognize.
In addition, there was this issue with Laverne Marine.
Uh-huh.
She's my sister, but she's been the first in many things. First one of the first probation officers, one of the first social workers to work at CRD, and of course, currently she's working at the VCT clinic, one of the first social workers there. So she's been a first for a lot of things, no?
Okay. I
And
know that.
but of course, under the radar, not
Yeah,
much,
yeah.
she doesn't make a big
And you
deal.
know something, this thing that when the bank First Caribbean was active here, they had started a program called Unsung Heroes,
Right.
where they were actually having a monetary reward, if you want, for those persons who were selected. Because we have thousands of our people
Definitely.
that are doing great fundamental work, like teachers
Right.
Oh, yes.
who are giving fundamental structure to children, and we didn't recognize them.
There's
you
a
know?
teacher-
And the only time we recognize them, that when they reel up in front of us.
Or they die.
Yeah, and then we
So-
think that one be a teacher.
Yeah.
But there are teachers, man, in their 50s and 60s that have been laboring and transforming us as young people, and we don't recognize those people.
We've done three teachers. In this issue, we have a teacher from Danriga. She has been, first of all, she didn't want to get into teaching at all. She just did it naturally, coming from a family background of
Oh,
teachers.
yeah.
Until finally a priest was able to lock her in, and she's been there since in one of the schools in the district, Before that, we also did one of the teachers from two teachers from Gwen Lizaraga High School. One that teaches food and nutrition.
Yeah.
She's one of the longest standing teachers there. Then we also have the young lady who is one of the union members, also teaching there, and she has given us that union background and coming from a family of unionists.
So each magazine has a certain theme, or is it the same theme going all the way, all 4 magazines?
No, each magazine has a theme.
A theme,
Yeah.
all right.
This theme for this one is youth.
This one is you. Okay. Will you look at other areas that are not normally looked at?
Yeah.
Most definitely.
There are a number of there are a lot of untold stories, for example, about youths at risk working through the difficulties and achieving success by transforming their lives, and that story has never been told. And you, having worked with many of these youths, should consider that. There's also another area that I wondered whether or not, would you look also at featuring institutions, or are you just looking at individuals?
Not necessarily. We're open to feature because we want to show what's happening in our communities that people are not aware of. So any area, we're welcome.
Okay,
You're
very
welcome.
good.
Our next issue will be on nurses.
Yes.
Nurses.
Yes.
Like, you know, my mind is here thinking about health.
Yes.
And there's a lot of unsung heroes
Yes,
there
definitely.
likewise, and there's a lot
Because,
of spearheading work going on in that field that we don't know about.
One of the things one of the stories that is untold in Belize is the fact that the districts don't have doctors, and these nurses are the backbones and the persons actually the pillars of the nursing of the medical profession and the healthcare system in Belize. But their stories are not being told, has not been told. So I'm shouting out all the nurses. When you hear from Abdul Yunis asking you for an interview, because we're coming very shortly, feel free to tell us your stories so that
Absolutely. I would
you could share with the
I would
world.
endorse that. And also in areas we're talking. I'm sorry.
One other thing that we usually do, and we try to do it weekly, is to profile someone from the community. So on our Facebook page, we have all the profiles that we have done so far.
Okay, so you can go to your Facebook and see most of it.
For Belada Caribe, and
And what is the Facebook name?
Belada Caribe.
Oh, it would be Belada also.
Caribe,
All right. We're coming close to the end now, but I also wanted to know if this, in the area of transformational, there is so much transformational stories that are going on in the world today, where people seem to think that they are stuck where they are. But there's so many stories. Maybe our brothers and sisters in diaspora could maybe help here. There are people who really were at the bottom of their life.
Right.
And everybody knew they were at the bottom of their life. We would like to know how you came from where you were to where you are. Because there's so many people who are either there where you are, or they're slipping down and they're looking for something to hold on to. Now, it may sound as though I'm talking about religion, but while religion is one of those obvious ways that people transform themselves, we are now recognizing that it may not be called religion, but there's some transformational ways in which people are dealing with their lives and improving.
Yeah.
And those stories need to be told as a means of encouraging others there that no give up. Life, there's hope.
Yeah.
Have you thought about honing in on that sector of?
Yes, we have, and I am in touch with a number of diasporans, including Renan Nunes, Gary Vision, Bilal Morris, and we believe it or not, some of the stories that were given to us by Bilal Morris.
Yes.
Gary Vision has
he's
given
doing excellent recording likewise.
So Gary Vision has also given us his story. We're supposed to be publishing that shortly. So we welcome these contributions from our diasporan brothers and sisters, and we are going out there to seek other transformational stories as well, because it's about celebrating our people, their achievement. I'm working closely with the Duke of Edinburgh Award and Cynthia Ellis. I'm actually a board member. I've been busy, so I haven't been attending some meetings, but we'll get there.
Don't make them tell you that. Kick them off of the board. Don't make them tell you that they're absentee board members.
But she is also in the process of getting some more transformational stories, and you know, including it, so that we could reach a wider audience and, you know, showcase the works.
Good, very good. Well, all I can say is congratulations for both you and your wife for Belada. I think the theme that you're taking goes beyond any other magazine that I know that we've had. It's a very large magazine. If you're going over 100 pages, it sounds like it's going to be a very hefty price, but it's going to be worth it, because it can be a historical document that can be kept over a period of time. So you would use like PayPal and these things, people in diaspora?
Yes, they would be able to purchase online, and then if anybody wants, they can order through us. We can purchase and have them shipped here.
Oh, okay. So. All right. So I want to thank you both for being present.
Thank you for having us.
I think the whole concept of showing stories of people who normally we don't hear from or know about is an inspiration to everybody who reads it. So we want to encourage you to give all support to this magazine, and it's not hard to get. We've already given the address on the screen, so you are able to access the magazine. I want to thank Ms. and our radio listeners as well. Do you want to give the, I'm being reminded by JC that we don't only have TV listeners here. I'm talking about the screen. We also have radio listeners. Can you give what the address is on the, to be able to access it?
You can visit our Facebook page.
That's probably easier.
Yeah, that would be easiest. Or you can visit our website, www.beladacaribe.com.
Okay. And it's spelled B-E-A?
B-E-L-A-D-A.
All right, that's very easy.
And Caribe, C-A-R-I-B-E.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right, thank you both for your presence here
Thank you for
morning,
having us.
and all the best to you.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.